How much time is your recruiter currently spending on calling, texting, emailing recruits? Maybe 20 hours a week? What if you could automate all of that and get your recruiter their time back so they can spend on better activities? I am so excited to welcome special guest Chris from Pre-Intent, where he's going to talk about how you can automate your recruitment process that actually gets results. Let's dive in. So Chris, how can home care agencies automate their recruiting process that actually gets results?
I think we first need to look at why automation is so important in today's marketplace, right? Unemployment is at 3.5 or 3.4%. We all thought it was going to go up after the new year and it didn't, right? And especially among frontline employees, they're not unemployed, they're changing jobs. And on Indeed, they're applying to 8 to 12 jobs. They're getting calls from everybody today. It's not 2016 when half the companies called them. It's 2023. Everybody's calling every candidate. And so you're competing with all these other companies. And it's really speed to interview and speed to job offer that makes a massive difference. And with automation, the biggest impact is now you can recruit 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. So typically a recruiter is there 9 to 5, 8 hours a day, only responding to candidates during that time. And they're doing other things in home care companies. They're wearing multiple hats. And with automation, everybody gets treated, every single candidate gets treated like it's the most important candidate. They can immediately follow up with you. They can take qualification forms. They can self-schedule interviews once they're qualified. And then your recruiter, the most valuable asset you have in the recruiting process, spends all their time on engaged, qualified, and ready to get hired candidates. Because your goal is to make sure that person talks to your recruiter first, gets into your office first for the interview, gets the first job offer, because that's the way you get the best candidates. The best candidates follow the path of least resistance to their next paycheck, just like everybody else. And so when you're competing in this marketplace, if you're not moving them through your hiring funnel at the speed of light, you're just creating opportunities for competition to swoop in and take that 10 caregiver or that 9 caregiver. And then you're left with the 7 and 6s that are left over that didn't get calls right away. And so it's really important that, you're using automation to make sure that that recruiter isn't having to manually lift every single step of the process. And they're just focused on those engaged, qualified, and ready to get hired candidates and making sure they close those deals so that you can then create a product that's worth $6,500 a month in recurring revenue to you. And that's a caregiver's time. And that's the most important thing for a home care agency today.
That is so amazing and so impactful, especially from the recruiter side, which is a valued employee, to be able to free up their time to focus on higher valued activities. Because obviously, if we can automate text messaging and phone calls and things, having that free time is huge. How much time would you say that recruiters are able to save by implementing automation into their process?
Yeah, what we typically see is you're going to save anywhere from 15 to 20 hours of manual labor, the phone calling and text messaging, email. But the bigger impact is what we see is recruiters now have the time to do 2 to 3 times the amount of interviews. So as your agency grows, you can either repurpose that recruiter's time to retention, or now that single person has the scalability to do the work of 2 to 3 recruiters in terms of number of interviews conducted and hires and orientation scheduling and all those other things. So now that recruiter becomes 2 to 3 times more valuable to your company in terms of producing caregivers to your caregiver census that then can go staff jobs and reduce your overtime and all the other wonderful things that come with a full caregiver roster in today's world. So if you're interested in automating your recruiting process and taking it to the next level, go to preintent.com, PREINTENT.com, and book a demo right away.